Scripture commentators like to take these readings and give them a spiritual bent. So using their ideas, there are three miracles of the raising of the dead that take place in the Scriptures. There's the raising of the dead, the young girl who is the daughter of Jairus. There's the raising of the dead, the son of the widow at Nain. And now today there's the raising of the dead man Lazarus. Each of these raisings in that order give us some insight into the spiritual raising that Jesus wants to do for us as a result of our repentance. Raising the young daughter at Nain. Little girl, get up. Is Jesus raising up those who have just fallen into sin? Those who have just entered into a kind of state of alienation from God? Perhaps they're the people that have kept the commandments pretty well, but something crazy happened in their life and they fell tragically. And they wish to come back. And they're not that afraid to use confession, although it's difficult. They fall into mortal sin, but they seek to be reconciled with God. It's a little easier to raise someone from the dead in that situation. Like Jesus with that little girl. After she was raised, he said, give her something to eat. And then there's the raising of the son of the widow at Nain. He was already laid out on the stretcher, and they were carrying him to the cemetery. He stopped the bier and he said to the young man, get up. And he opened his eyes, and he gave him back to his mother. This is the spiritual raising up of those who are deeper into sin. They are more entrenched in it. Perhaps there's that sense inside of us that always wishes evil upon someone who has hurt us. It's entrenched in us. We can't break that habit. It's an ingrained habit of sin that we might have, that we're so frustrated with. We get tired of going to confession thinking it's always the same thing over and over again. And yet there's a simple piece of hope that's inside that individual. That piece of hope helps them to hold on to the fact that maybe God can still forgive me, no matter how many times I do this. Today there's the raising of the dead man Lazarus. In the grave for 4 days, there will be a stench. Jesus asks the question, where have you laid him? He's even looking for him, the dead man in the tomb. He's perturbed. He himself weeps because of what he's up against. God's search for sinful Adam in the book of Genesis is reminiscent of this when he comes into the garden and wonders, where is Adam? Where are you? Normally he would have seen him, but he was missing. He was hiding himself. And then Jesus, not with a simple little, get up little girl, he shouts, Lazarus, come out. This sin is what has so many people buried. Buried because they have convinced themselves that they can't be saved anymore. They've gone too far away from God. Or their anger at the church or at people who are members of the church is so deep and ingrained that they're like that Lazarus body in the tomb 4 days, unable to be reached. It is Lazarus who is summoned out then. If he can be healed, if he can be saved, if he can be raised from the dead, then God can reach out to those who have fallen so abjectly away from the faith that they too can be saved. Even the worst sinners can be saved. So this Lent, as we come to the end of it, we can ask ourselves, who do we feel like? We feel like that daughter of Jairus, just a little bit sick from sin, not really too alienated from God, maybe thinking I'm doing pretty well, but still wanting to hear that word from him that says, little girl, get up. From your sins rise up. I heal you. I forgive you. Maybe you're alienated from some neighbors. Maybe you're alienated from family. Maybe you're besought by those kinds of crosses that come our way. and you kind of doubt whether God really has you in the palm of his hand. It's those times that we need to kind of come back to the Lord and ask him once again to raise us up, to take that death away that's in our hearts. Or maybe you feel a little like the son of the widow at Nain, afraid to confess, too proud, admitting sin. It's embarrassing. Maybe there's some sins in the back of your conscience that lurk there from days gone by that you've never been able to face. Maybe you're so tired of the craziness of life and the treadmill that it exists in your life that you can't even feel God's presence in your life anymore. A little bit harder to raise up from that. And yet Jesus can do that as he raised the son of the widow at Nain. And then there's that death of Lazarus, that spiritual death in us. How do you feel when it comes to that? Perhaps you feel there are sins in your life that God cannot forgive. Perhaps you've despaired of God's forgiveness. Perhaps you feel in some way it's no use. This is called that kind of death where God has to yell and shout, "Lazarus, come out." Augustine talks about the 4 days that Lazarus was in the tomb this way. He talks about the fourfold sin in our lives. There's the original sin that we were born with, that weakness towards sin, that concupiscence, that inability to always do the good, and that ability to so often do the bad. There's that original sin. The second day in the tomb can be like that actual sin in our lives that's against natural law. When we truly break a law that's not just God's law, but it's against nature itself. Like something as serious as abortion, where when we commit that sin, we literally go against the very dictates of life. And then there's the actual sin about the written law of God. All of those 10 commandments, lying and stealing, the things that aren't quite as serious as those things against natural law, yet they are God's way of communicating to us, this is how you are to live your life if you wish to be happy. I have the secret. I know how. Just follow these laws. And then there's a sin against the gospel and grace. To even doubt that God has salvation in store for us. To even doubt that he can forgive us. God does love me. God does love you. And when we doubt that, we doubt and we sin against the law of the gospel and the law of grace. Another commentator talked about 4 days of the tomb this way. Talks about the different kinds of sins. Talks about thoughts. So many people think that their thoughts are sinful. And yes, indeed, they can be very uncharitable thoughts, because unfortunately sometimes they lead to action. And then there's the second day in the tomb, the sins of the tongue. The things we say about others, especially the things we might put on social media about someone. And then there's the evil actions, the third day in the tomb, actually carrying out things that are indeed against the laws of God. And the fourth day in the tomb is literally wicked habits. Habits we just can't break. And we've been working on and working on. We get frustrated. And we don't understand why God doesn't take this away. That's the one that seems to be the hardest for us to accept God's mercy for. Because it's accepting it even though we're completely weak to be able to do anything about it. So Jesus shouts our name. And he says, come out. Don't be locked up in that tomb, dead where sin is. He tries to get our attention lots of different ways. Maybe he gets our attention when our body gives out. When we experience a surgery or a heart attack or a diagnosis of cancer, we suddenly realize, I'm not going to be here forever. He gets our attention. When love goes out of our marriage, when we have bad relationships, when things happen to us that we just have torn us apart, the Lord is reaching in even in those times and saying to us, hey, wait a minute, I still love you. And when those wicked habits don't seem to satisfy us anymore, Jesus shouts, come out of that dead tomb of your sins and realize, I do love you. I want to take away those burial cloths. and let you walk.